be clear. Like I pulled in all the critical people, all the
Yeah.
critical people. I was like, where I did this very wrong at the beginning is that I did not weigh my board accordingly, meaning that a person that likes me, that was impressed by me, that thought I was doing good work in this world, I didn't give them much of a vote.
Do you have a personal board of directors? As a small business owner, you need to adopt high performance habits, thoughts, and management skills to help your business grow and thrive. Your personal board of directors are those people who help you frame a mindset of success. Today's guest, April Garcia, owner of PivotME and a business advisor and performance coach, is going to help us understand exactly how to make that happen. Welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat 100th episode. That is actually how April is, her energy. So I just totally channeled it. I am stoked for today, Anna. We made it to 100. 100 episodes.
I
Guys.
know.
I'm thrilled for today. Like seriously, and I'm thrilled because of several reasons, and we talked about it backstage. We made it to 100. Me and Anna Larson are still together after 100, going strong. You know what I mean?
We've reached our Centaurian,
That's
Centauri,
nice.
whatever Centaurian. But I don't know what it is. Like, do I need to give you a gold bracelet or something? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no. Do you know what I'm saying? No. All right. Like, here's the deal. We have like, I think my favorite guy. We have my like just a favorite person on today that I'm so excited for. I met her last year, and I don't think I can like not be around her. You know what I mean? It would make my heart so sad. So, Anna, before I get all clamped or not whatever. Can you tell everybody what our call to action question is that we'd love to kind of hear from?
I absolutely can. So let me just tell you today's topic, personal board of directors, was one that I was not super familiar with. So when Selena and I started talking about it, she was like, "Do you have one?" I'm like, "No, and it's me making all the decisions for my business, right? Like it's just me in my brain." The more we started talking about it, the more I realized I do have a personal board of directors, all those little people that come at you on the side that influence whatever it is that you're doing, right? So we want to know from our listening audience right now, or if you're catching the replay, feel free to still drop it in the comments for us. Do you have a personal board of directors? And if you do, maybe one person that's on it, right? I discovered my mother is on mine.
Yeah, we'll dive into that with April, right? No, and hey, look, I'll tell you what, because maybe you're like, I still don't understand what you mean. My mother is also on mine, and bless her soul. I asked her to be like an advisory person now, maybe like she's in the other room just because, you know what I mean? I love you, mom. So, and there's other people. So, okay, you know what? Before we bring other comments on, I want to let's do April's bio because I just want to bring her on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Let's
So,
get April because this is really her
yeah,
topic and her
yeah,
conversation. Absolutely, let's
yeah.
do it.
So I'm excited. So here is April's bio. Ready? Meet April Garcia. Hailed as a business advisor you'd love to have a beer with, April Garcia is the expert with an edge. By age 19, she had already begun her long tenure of entrepreneurship as a real estate investor, had started her first company, and bought a house before she could legally buy a beer. Later, she graduated from numerous leadership academies, climbed the ladder as a top performer in the financial and telecom industry, received a bachelor's degree in biology, built several businesses, and advised both U.S. and international corporations from startup to billion-dollar businesses. April is an expert in growing revenue, sales, and operations, increasing productivity, and helping business owners obtain rebalance so that they have time to enjoy the life they earned. She knows what it takes to change your story, remove limiting beliefs, and create high-performance habits. I mean,
Oh,
there's more, but I
there's
think we just need to hear from her personally. So, um,
I wonder if it was me that paused. So I'm glad it
no.
wasn't just me.
Oh, no, it was me. Welcome to the show. Thank you for celebrating 100 episodes with us today.
I am so honored to be here on such an important day. Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited to celebrate a 100th episode with you.
Hey, we are just ready to. Well, first of all, I guess we should do our coffee cup selfie real fast. I was like, we want to dive in. I know. Thank you, Heidi. Cheers to 100 episodes.
I know.
So, like, look, we got a lot of people coming in saying congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I can't, you guys, we have like an amazing guest. Like, you're going to just get so much from April. I can't stop. I know. April, you're going to have to be like, stop, Selena. Stop. Keep
No,
going. Stop.
no,
Keep
it's
going.
okay.
You know.
Bring it. Bring it.
So
Let's
I'm
do
going to
it.
bring my cup up into my shot and I'm going to take a picture with April.
Should I bring my cup too?
Yes,
that
of
okay?
course. Of
Yes.
course, you're Wonder Woman, you know? There you
There you
go.
go.
Okay, there we go. All right. Cheers, guys, to 100.
Cheers. 100. Yay.
Okay, we are going to move into our positions here. And Anna, let's dive into the first question.
Let's do it. Okay, so we've been talking about a personal board of directors, and I tried to explain it a little tiny bit. And Selena threw in a couple of
Sure.
things here and there. But April, because you are the expert in this, can you please tell us what is a personal board of directors?
I would love to. So, to explain what a personal board of directors is, it's a little bit easier if I first just kind of outline again what a board of directors is. So, kind of the standard board of directors is a group of people that advise you on your business. So, you're making big decisions, you're thinking about doing some changes, and you go to this board and you sort of get approval for the changes, you get insight. Ideally, they're guiding your business in a positive way. So, most people are kind of familiar with this idea of a board of directors. But what I found is that we actually all have personal boards of directors, and we have the ones that we choose. But I like to talk about the ones that we don't necessarily choose. So, someone we choose might be like, oh, this person influences me. However, what I found is that everybody has sort of this board of directors in their mind. They may not even be actively talking to the person, but it's people that we sort of run our decisions by. So let me give you some examples. So you might be deciding to launch another business or write a book or move your family across country. And you're thinking about what would this person think? You kind of gut check with them about, will this person agree with the decision I'm about to make? Will this person judge me for that? It's fine if they're people that you actively put on your personal board of directors, but where it gets to be problematic is when we have people on our board of directors that we did not vote in. A lot of times that can be like ex bosses, ex boyfriends, spouses. Like there are people that are speaking into our life and business and we don't even know it. And the problem is we'll go to look at an opportunity, a thing that we want to do, and kind of subconsciously, we're wondering what that person would think. And so what I do is I walk people through a process of, okay, let's get curious about who's on your board of directors. And sometimes when I introduce the concept, like you, Anna, they're like, no, I don't have anybody on my board of directors. I'm making all my decisions myself. Oh, hold on a second. Then I ask them, go back to the last big decision you made. Go back to a decision, maybe even reflect on the decision you're currently facing now. I'm thinking about changing my business, bringing in a new partner. I'm thinking about moving. I'm thinking about doing something different, going back to school. Think about a decision that you're facing. Don't necessarily ask who you're going to ask advice for, but who is it in the back of your mind that you're going, ooh, what would they think? Because the problem is those people are heavily influencing our decisions and we don't even know it. And I will give you a spoiler alert. A parent is almost always on our board of directors. So like, here's the usual cast of characters. It's an old boss, usually one that was very critical of us. That's hard to please. Oh, they always get a seat in the board, right? It's a parent that's maybe more financially conservative. They kind of like, they're always the one that's saying, are you sure you really want to do this? But you went to school for this. Like, you got to get curious about who's on your personal board of directors because they're shaping the decisions that you make. And if you don't choose them, they will be chosen for you by your brain. And they're usually people who are maybe not have your best interest at heart all the time.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, so I'm just going to throw out
Yeah.
our call to action question one more time. Now that everybody who's listening has heard what a personal board of directors is, I want to know, do you have one and
Yeah.
who's on it?
Mhm.
I've admitted my mother is on there and
Yeah.
she is
Yeah.
conservative financially and she absolutely is my thrifty side, my frugal,
Yes.
very responsible, like put that take that out of your cart and put it back on the shelf. You do not need it.
Right. No, yeah. I discovered that, and I didn't think about it, but one of my bosses is on there, and just how you said the cynical one, he was one of my favorites, but still, I know. Thanks, Amanda, for joining us. Is he was very critical that sometimes it instilled a like a not confident way to approach
Mhm.
something. So I don't come into things with zest sometimes, but it's because I'm hearing him go, "Are you sure it's gonna work? Like, are you know?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You really have to watch, I walk through an exercise where I have you actually imagine, if you will, a room full of these people, and they're all sitting at the table and they're all weighing in on your decisions. And you have to stand guard to that door. And this is a maintenance thing. It's not like you just decide who's on your board of directors and maybe vote some people off. And then you're like, well, my work here is done. We don't graduate from personal development work, like new level, new devil. And so for me, what I found was that even as a business advisor, and I've owned lots of different businesses and I've grown lots of different businesses. If I'm not careful, I had an old boss that sneaks in the back door. So we think I'm making the decisions. I'm standing at the whiteboard of my mind. And I was like, yeah, should I buy this new business or should I do this new endeavor? And if I'm not careful, Jack will sneak in the back door and then he starts like tracks in the place, right? And you're like, well, April, I don't know if this is a good idea. And have you thought about this? Or they remind us of past failures or mistakes. We all have those people in our lives that are well intentioned, but don't miss an opportunity to remind us of the ways that maybe we didn't handle it well before, or when things didn't meet expectation before. You got to be real careful about having those people sitting at the table because they can really influence the decisions you're about to make.
yes, 100%. And disclaimer here, hi, Tammy. I am part of April's mastermind. And when we started talking about the personal board of directors, and I got to kind of help reframe when April mentions it, right? You're reframing who you want in there. Like I
Mhm.
said, my mom is outside the door now, April, and she's like, just as long as
You're
she
like,
can
we
make
need copies.
yeah,
Please step outside.
mom, coffee, make some pastries because you love to bake. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
giving her another job I know she'll love. So
I'm coming over. And she's like,
yeah,
okay, I'm coming to
yeah,
your board meeting.
no, for sure. Anna, like now that April has said that, like, do you feel like there's more than just your mom, like as she's talking, or like when you give thought?
Absolutely. I mean, once you and I had talked it through and I really sat down and really started thinking about it, I'm like, I do have people that I gut check with. Absolutely. And when you say the words gut check, I'm like, that makes more sense to me, right? Because I
Mhm.
don't like to think that I'm actively consciously going, what will so and so think of me if I don't
Mhm.
make this decision the way they would? Right. So that gut check though resonates with me in the sense of like just feeling uncomfortable or, oh, I hope they don't find out or or I hope they do find it, right? Something
Mhm.
that is occurring. What I'm loving is just all the comments that are coming through and the people that are able to identify, like, yes, I have
Mhm.
this person, and that person. But one of the things that really resonated with what you said, April, is we very often have people who are critical of us,
Yes.
right? People that are maybe not as positive or as supportive of the kinds of things that we want to do. How does that affect, like, mentally where we're at when we're doing these business things? Like, is it a huge block for people to be able to overcome?
Yeah. And a great question. So I love this question because does it matter? Immensely. Like having someone who's critical, and I will just tell you, almost all of us have a critical person. Maybe it's even a parent, maybe it's even a teacher. A lot of times it's a parent, I'll tell you. But maybe it's an aunt or a grandparent. Having someone that's critical, and again, not someone that's like, oh, well, I'm about to make a business decision. And I had this aunt that was an amazing entrepreneur, and I'm kind of gut checking with her. That's usually not where we're giving our power away. We're usually giving it to the aunt that's never owned a business before, but has all the opinions on owning a business. That's usually where we're like, well, what would Aunt, Betty at? Well, Aunt Betty's never owned a business. Like, don't gut check with Aunt Betty. It affects everything, Anna. It affects everything because it erodes our confidence. Because we're about to make a decision. And instead of just looking at facts and figures, instead of gut checking with ourselves, we are weighing in on a hypercritical person that those people don't tend to be satisfied with the results. They tend to find fault. Every solution they've got a problem for. And so where I really see it affect people is it erodes their confidence. And again,
Mm.
when we're talking about board of directors, there's a couple sides of it. There's the people that we choose to have on, and we should have people on our board of directors. We want to bring in the person that's good in business. We want to bring in the person that has a very happy marriage, and we want them to be influencing our decisions in our marriage. We want, if you're a parent, you want to have someone on your board of directors who's a great parent. You don't want someone on your board of directors that was a very critical parent and has a lot of opinions on the way you're parenting and maybe weren't the best parent themselves. But if we don't stand guard to the door in our mind, those people get in. Those hypercritical people get in. And they really do erode our confidence. And what does that do? It makes it so we show up smaller in the world. We don't play full out. We don't deliver to our people, to our family, to our communities in the most profound, bold ways that we could because we had someone who they themselves was too afraid to get into the arena. And we're allowing them to stand on the sidelines and speak into our lives and business. And they don't deserve a ticket. We can love our people, but that doesn't mean they get to sit on our board of directors. That is a vetted position. Someone who gets to weigh in on our lives and business, on our marriage, on our parenting, that is a vetted position. And just because they're family, just because they're your best friend, just because they're your business partner, does not mean that they have earned the right to weigh in on those decisions.
Yes,
I
100%.
love that.
I'm telling you. Anna, when we talked about this, I realized like who were on it. And I'm like, okay, Anna is now on my personal board of directors. Like she's
Mhm.
somebody that is sound, but will always have my best interest at heart. So I know she wants me to move forward. I know she wants me to get all the things that I want personally and professionally. So yeah, oh man, I
And
could,
Selena, I didn't do this
Yeah.
right at first, just to be clear. Like I pulled in all the critical people, all the
yeah.
critical people. I was like, where I did this very wrong at the beginning is that I did not weigh my board accordingly, meaning that a person that likes me, that was impressed by me, that thought I was doing good work in this world, I didn't give them much of a vote. So I had, my best friend, I had my aunt that were huge, huge fans of the work that I was doing. And yet I gave them very little votes. I gave a tremendous amount to people that were critical. I was like, yeah, you're a fan of what I'm doing, but how about that guy over there? I wanted to impress, I wanted to win over the person over there. And that actually comes from long ago. That actually comes straight down the line from my childhood. But it took years for me to understand this. Why did I give so much weight to a person who was critical, not just of me, but of everything? They were scared, they were critical, they were hard to impress. And those were the people that I tried the hardest to impress. The people who already thought I was doing good work, I didn't give them much of a vote. And this is how I did it wrong.
So I'm curious then, April, like when I hear you talking about this, and one of the comments that came up, this one right here, my imposter syndrome is privileged. Is it imposter syndrome that we're playing into at this point? Like I'm not good enough, or they're right, I can't do this. And so we take so much from those negative, I guess, thoughts and beliefs that other people have placed on us. Is that what's
So,
happening here?
so it's a little bit of that, Anna. So great question. I'm so glad you asked this question. It's a little bit of that where where the criticism it hits us the hardest is when someone is saying words that we've said to ourselves already. So if I'm worried that I don't have enough experience to do this new business, and then we hear those words out of someone else's mouth, we're like, oh, she was right. It's true. And so sometimes it's a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I will just say to the person who commented on the imposter syndrome, there are steps to address that. Don't just feel like, why do I have imposter syndrome? And I wish I didn't have it. And this is just a thing that I'm going to be saddled with. No, no, no. There are ways, and I wish I had the links because I have podcasts that I specifically addressed imposter syndrome. So I don't know if that's something I can send them afterwards. And it's really good.
Yeah.
Because it's not something you have to be saddled with for the rest of your life. There are very clear steps that you're going to take. But here's part of it. You've got to get curious about the things that you say to yourself. Because again, this idea of personal board of directors, they may not actually be saying a damn thing. I don't know if I can cuss or we're going to.
Yes, we like,
Right.
yeah,
Right. I've to it with my
to the limit.
total scale, level 10. I love it. So it's, I worked with a client, Mike, and he had imposter syndrome, and we did the personal board of directors. Now, guys, I want to be clear from the outside, this guy was killing it personally, professionally. He's got the house. He's making, 500K a year. He's a very successful real estate agent. He's in his 50s. He's in his 50s. Who's on his board of directors? His father, who has been gone, who has passed on 10 years, 15 years earlier. And yet the primary person speaking into Mike's business was his deceased father. So many of the things that he was doing, again, on paper, he looked very successful. But when his head hit the pillow at night, he did not feel like a success. All he did is look at the gaps. He could have done better. He could have wrote that contract better. He could have got one more sale this month. He was so focused on the ways that he believed his father would say he was failing, that he didn't enjoy the richness of his success. He didn't experience the joy and the fulfillment because his dad was like the chairman of the board and his dad was never going to be happy. So if you are someone who struggles with imposter syndrome, the first thing you really need to do is you need to get clear about what you're saying to yourself. And simply just hearing what kind of your subconscious is saying, I'm not good enough. I should have gone to school for this. I don't have enough training for this. I'm bad with people. I'm an introvert, which means that XYZ. Like, first, listen to what you are saying to yourself. Nobody actually needs to take away our dreams from us. We hand them over all the time. And so when you're taking back your power, the first step is get real about what am I saying to myself? And then when you land on what that is, for example, I hear a lot, I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough training. I don't have enough experience. Like, call that out and say, is that true? Is that really true? Are people out there doing it with less experience than me? I can tell you the answer is always yes. And another way to move off of imposter syndrome, be clear with the people that you serve and understand that if you let imposter syndrome make you show up smaller, if you want to give a speech, you want to write a book and you don't because of imposter syndrome, there is someone that you needed to serve. There is someone trying to Google for an answer that's inside your head. And if you let imposter syndrome in the front seat, you don't get to serve that person. When you make it about the person you're going to serve, it helps you face those fears.
This is so good, April. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, you
Yeah.
can see just from the comments, this is like the message people needed today.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Anna, do you
And
see
the
why I
thing,
get
April,
so excited when I leave a
yes, I do.
session? You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that we all like. I think everybody has that feeling every once in a while,
Mhm,
right? It's
mhm.
what you're saying, April. There's people that even subconsciously are there behind us saying, you can't do this. You'll
Yeah,
never make
totally.
it. You're not going to hit that 1 million like you want. You're not going to do
Mhm,
this. You're never, that business is going to fail, right?
mhm.
And we fight it as best we can. But sometimes but if it's always there, I mean, how
Mhm.
difficult? Okay,
Yeah.
so that
Can
totally
I just
just
speak to
spins us
that?
right into question. Yeah.
Can,
Yes,
can I speak to
please.
that real quick?
Yes. Yeah.
So the one thing people need to know, and this is a benefit this is something that Selena, you've probably experienced in the PivotME Academy. So I've run masterminds for years at every level, whether that's, people that run, hundreds of millions, $1 billion organizations to someone that's like, it's just me, I'm a solopreneur. Here's one of the things that people get out of the academy that is so important is they realize everybody's struggling with the same thing. So you might have someone that runs, the web design company or a digital marketing company or someone who is a leadership consultant and maybe they've got one employee, maybe they've got, 10 employees and they're sitting next to someone who runs a software company that has 300 employees and he struggles with the same thing. And it's only when you hear the on paper successful person say, yeah, it's really hard because I grew up as an immigrant and we didn't have any money. And oftentimes I still hear my mother in my ear saying, don't spend that money. Don't invest that. Don't expand to these new markets because you got to be prepared because at any moment the bottom's going to drop out. And you watch someone who's reached that level of success and he's still afraid. You watch someone, like I mentioned, the real estate agent who was making $400,000 a year. And yet he still remembers, I haven't said his name. So I want to make sure I don't out someone. He still remembers his father telling him he's lazy. And so here he is out there
Mm.
trying to hustle for approval, the approval of a man who is no longer alive. And I point that out, guys, because if you're someone who's listening right now who struggles with imposter syndrome, is afraid you're not good enough, afraid that you don't have the training or the degree or whatever the story is, that is not unique. You are having the human experience just like the rest of us. And we may see someone on social media, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and you go, oh, they've got it all figured out. But at the end of the day, they too are struggling with a critical family member, an old boss who said they couldn't do it, an ex-wife. When I went through this exercise with a guy who owned a appraisal company, and I was like, all right, who's on your board of directors? And he goes, I know who the chairman of the board is. I said, who? He goes, my ex-wife. And I said, Al, does your ex-wife make the best business decisions for you? He's like, no, she hates me. And this is the person like speaking into his business. So if you're listening right now, I just want you to know that it's not that there's a failing in you. It's not that you have insecurities and other people don't. This is the human experience. But get curious about what you're saying, and then let's start to reprogram that. You can say different things to yourself. You can do exercises to replace those thoughts. Those are just practice thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. And we can literally put new thoughts in our head, and eventually we start to believe a completely different narrative about ourselves.
I want to jump in here real fast because, again, I am part of April's PivotME Academy. She has called me out when we've had discussions in our groups, and she'll be like, I mean, like literally, whoa, 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 whoa. Selena, that was a limiting belief. And I was like, she's right. But she's checked me so many times that now I actually can check myself. You know what I mean? And I think this is just what I love about that. Oh, she's gone for just a second. We'll have her come back. She'll come back. Don't worry, guys. We're not done with her. She'll be back. There she is. She's back. She says, for JK, joking.
Walk in the corner. I'm back.
You thought we were done with April. Anyway, that's just what I love about you, April, is I love that you said that here is like, just, man, if we could all have just like a zapper, like an April zapper, like anytime like we said like a limiting belief out loud or a thought, it just goes like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump in. And because now I do that. Now I say that to like my husband all the time. You know, he's transitioned out of the army. And it's like, he was like, well, blah, blah. I'm like, bleh. And I was like, April said, no limiting beliefs.
So it's fun. I think he's done in the academy. He's like, if my wife has to hear, well, April says that, and I was like, oh, your wife's gonna end up hating me. I'm like, sometimes they just need to vent. Don't coach your family. Don't coach your spouses. Doesn't end well, friends. But they come out all the time. Our limiting beliefs come out all the time. Well, I would do that, but X, Y, Z, and there is so much. So one thing is that if we don't face something, we can't change it. If we don't know what we're saying to ourselves, you have zero chance of changing it. The first thing you've got to do, one of the massive limiting beliefs that I had to face for years is I was a business advisor. I ran a distribution channel all over the US and Canada. And I had this limiting belief that how could I be this amazing business advisor and be a present parent? And I had this limiting belief. And on the surface, I would say, well, of course you can do this. But deep down inside, when I was getting on a plane, I had this gnawing gut. Why? Well, I had some family members that were on my board of directors that were stay-at-home moms. And it didn't even necessarily parent in the way that I would parent. And yet I was letting their beliefs kind of creep into mine. And I'm happy to say that I put that to rest. But I also am extremely present parent. And I was a great business advisor. Like one didn't necessarily negate the other. But until I faced that I had this limiting belief, I couldn't change it because that which is denied cannot be changed. We first have to look at it and go, ooh, I believe that, because there's sort of the logical part of our brain that goes, I don't believe that. I don't actually believe I'm too old to do this thing, that my time has passed. We had a guy in the academy. He said, when it really came down to it, I realized I thought I'd been a has-been. This is a guy who's like 42, but he's like, I thought the ship had sailed. Like, it's too late for me. I'm done. I was like, whoa, 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 pal. You got a lot of years left in yet. But he couldn't change that until he faced it.
So I'm curious then, April, like, so I mean, we're totally going to go off script here. Forget those other questions that we had for you because I love this conversation so much. Yeah, they're out.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at something like this, where you're thinking about your personal board of directors, what is it that you need to be saying to yourself to eliminate those limiting beliefs? Like, could you give like a couple of tips for our listeners? Like, right? Because we're all like, yeah, we're not going to let this happen anymore. And then
Right.
whatever, you're a failure. Blah, right?
Right.
Sure. I knew it. I knew it. You got me all along. So, exactly. Great point. Because when we're talking, this is something that I'm super focused on is that I both want to inspire someone, but I want to inspire them to action. I always say that education without execution is just another form of distraction. If you listen to this, if you listen to a podcast, if you read a book, people love bragging about how many books they read. What really matters is how many books did we execute on? So I love this question in that we might feel excited and fired up. And you're right, April, we're never going to do this again. And then we get off of this amazing live. And then 30 minutes later, our mama calls us. We're like, oh, she was right. No, I'm not doing that. No. So you've got to put it into action. So there's a couple of things we need to do. First, like I said, you've got to write down what it is that you're saying to yourself. Now, this can be on a daily basis because we think thousands of thoughts an hour, thousands of thoughts. The vast majority of them are negative. The thoughts that are going around in our mind are like, they are not, damn, I'm good at this. Look at this shirt. This was a good choice today, bro. Well done. Like, that's not what we're thinking. We pass by a mirror, we look at a report, we tend to think of negative things. And that there's a lot of reasons why that happen. Our brain is designed to protect us, not necessarily make us thrive. A whole different conversation. But we first need to be aware of what we're saying. And then we need to choose different.
Mm.
So, for example, if we're trying to, one thing I worked on with some clients recently is that they were increasing their prices. And the thing that they kept saying to themselves over and over again, out loud and in their brain, was nobody's going to be able to afford me. Nobody's going to buy at that price point. And so that becomes a mantra, an affirmation, a thing that you say over and over again, either out loud or in your brain. And the more we say it, the more we reinforce it in our brain. Our brain will make connections based off of what we say repeatedly. And so every time she would say, nobody's going to be able to afford that, she was reinforcing that thought process. Was it true? It was not true. And so once she said it out loud to me, I'm afraid no one's going to be able to afford that. I said, well, how often do you say that to yourself? And she said, pretty much every time I'm in front of a prospect. Great. Let's choose different. So literally I had to write down limiting beliefs on one side, and then we wrote an arrow, and then we chose a more empowering belief. So that in that particular instance, we moved from nobody's going to be able to afford me, and I gave her a better one, which is my ideal client can easily afford me. And here's why this was such a massive shift. If she made an offer in front of a prospect, she said, "Hey, I'd like to work together. This is what it would look like." If they said, "No, I can't do it," her board of directors, they like went haywire. "I knew you were too expensive. I knew you didn't have enough training. I knew you should have had a TED Talk first." Oh, that's what her board of directors would do, right? The negative one. And she would say, "Nobody can afford me." But when she started to say, "My ideal client can easily afford me," if she made an offer to someone and they said no, she instead said, "Oh, they're not my ideal client." Can you see how this would be a massive shift? So first you got to get curious about what you're saying. Then once you understand what you're saying, ask yourself, is that true? Is that 100% true? And if I was to choose a more empowering belief, what would that look like? And you can literally draw an arrow and then select something different. At first, this is going to feel like BS. At first, you're going to go, because we've spent a lifetime stacking evidence to support the negative narrative. We've spent a lifetime of going, see, I'm not good enough. See, my mom was right. See, my dad is right. I am lazy. Look how many times I hit the snooze button this morning. We search through our day and stack evidence to support negative narratives. If we just instead investigated our day and stacked the positive, that's what the attaboy folder is about. If you instead stack the evidence that you're good at what you're doing, that you are a good parent, that you are a present spouse. Like, I'm not talking about lying to ourselves, guys, but I'm talking about stacking evidence to support the other argument, because both can be true. It just depends on which one we're focusing on. And when we focus to the positive, we tend to bring about more positive. When we believe that we're an amazing at our job, we tend to do more business and we tend to show up more fully and we deliver better, stacking more evidence to how good we are versus stacking the evidence of the time that the deal didn't work out.
I know it wasn't one of the questions, but because April mentioned the attaboy folder, I just want to touch on that lightly because everybody today watching can do this today. If you do anything,
Mhm.
create this attaboy folder. I'll let April can you just explain to everybody
Sure.
how they should create that, where they should create that, where they should put that, you know?
Absolutely. So an attaboy folder and attagirl folder is essentially just a folder. It can be a physical folder, but where I found it easiest to do on sort of on a weekly basis is screenshots on your phone. I used to have people put it as a folder in their inbox, but screenshots on your phone is really effective. And it's literally a collection of evidence on the awesome things that you do. Now, for some people, they're like, well, that kind of seems, I don't know, boastful of it. No, no, no. Again, your brain does a fine job of stacking all the evidence of the mistakes you've made. So let's make sure that we stack evidence to the contrary. So it might be trophy moments like, oh, I ran that marathon. How cool was that? Or, oh, I got a degree and I have dyslexia. That was really, really tough. And it might be those kind of what I call trophy moments. But a lot of times it's not those. It's the time that we saved this deal and we know how much it mattered to us, or we had this really amazing conversation with our teenager and they sent us a text and say, thanks for understanding me. Those moments, I want you to screenshot them on your phone and have a folder. I have Google Photos and it's called Girl. And it's everything from client emails, it's text, it's stuff from my kids, from my spouse, like all of that goes in there. And why that's so important is it's a confidence booster. There will be a time in your life, many times in your life, where you have a crisis of confidence. And this, when we're riding high on the hog, we're like, man, I'm amazing. It's good. We may not need that folder, but there will come a time where we lose a major contract. Maybe we lose someone in our life. Maybe there's just something that happens that we go, oh man, I am feeling really low right now. And that's when you go to your add a girl or add a boy folder. That's when you look through and you remind yourself of the things that you are capable of, the impact you have on this world. Again, because your brain is very good at stacking the evidence of the times that we have fallen short, the deals that went sideways, the time that we snapped at our kid and we wish we had it. Our brain is real good at picking out those. But what we have to do is force our brain to look at what is going right in the world, what we've done well in the world. And I see people, they'll go in for a job interview, for example, and a lot of people, they'll be out there and they're scrolling social media. Social media doesn't tend to make people feel more confident. And I said, if you just did this, if you looked at your Add a Girl folder before you went in for that job interview or before you had that important meeting and that important phone call, if you just scrolled through your Add a Girl folder, you would show up very, very different because most of us walk into intense situations like that with all the ways that we've fallen short very close in mind. Like, oh, I hope this business deal will go better than the last one. Oh, remember when I got tongue tied, I didn't say the right thing. That's how most of us enter important high stress situations. Imagine instead if you were scrolling through your phone looking at, wow, I negotiated that deal so well. Man, I had such a good conversation with my kid. Man, look at how I added value in this group or that group. Having something like that is a massive confidence boost. But where it really matters is when we get knocked down, because we all get knocked down.
Yeah.
And it is a way to pick yourself up so much better and so much quicker and help you sort of show up in the world in the way that both serves you and serves the people in your life.
Mm. Okay, guys, here's what I'm telling you to do. Create your attaboy folder, and I want you to tag April and Anna and I today, just because, you know what I mean? I think this is like something easy. Um, yes, I have one, and I'm gonna just share the first one. And I talked about this. I'm all excited. So, and like she was saying, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I did that $10 million deal and that's what's in here. But the first one in my Atta Girl folder was one of our friends here had got me this sweatshirt. Anna, I think you have this too, but it's called Main Character Energy. And the reason why I put it as it was just a reminder because April reminds us all the time we deserve to be there. We deserve to be in the room. We deserve to have a table, not just sit at a table, but to have a table. And I my friend had got this sweatshirt for all of us, and it's just I love when I put it on, main character energy. I want to always remember that I am worthy of main character energy. So that's in it. And I always love it. And I do. I refer
Love
back to it. I'm like, huh. So, and I'm excited to see when you build your folder. I mean, we totally gone off script. So, you know what I mean? I love the rogue tears. I know. Thanks. Anna.
Selena,
Yeah.
can I ask real quick?
Yeah.
What change do you see after you? So, what moments do you look at your Add a Girl folder, and then what change do you see after you look through it?
You know, it's funny that had a girl folder, just knowing that it's there. Sometimes I don't even have to go in to look at it, but just knowing that it's there has reminded me, like, hey, you are main character. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I know that's the first photo I have, and I wanted that to be the first photo to just remind me. But and that's the changes. I look up more. You know what I mean? I look forward. I don't totally scale the wall when I come into a room or a space, or I'm still working on it. I'm not saying like I run into a room and do a twirl. Anna knows this, but just
Give it
knowing that
6
it's
months.
there just kind of takes me down like the lane of why it's there, what the work I get to do with you, like all these things, and just the confidence that I know like that it's that April zapper boost. Like there's a zapper and there's a boost. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a little
Yeah.
boost. That's what it's done for me, and it's not like you said, it's not like conceited or it's not like whatever. It's just a reminder of the hard work we put into our personal life, our professional life. And I'm all about this folder. And and it has it just random, not random, but it has things of my kid or my, like you said, I don't know, but I love it. And
Yeah.
Anna, what would be your first photo?
For I don't know. It might be something that I just like this last weekend when I went camping with my family. That's like our thing our family does, right? It makes me happy and I know it's something I'm good at camping. I'm really good at camping. I don't know
Amazing.
what
It's
that
good
has
being
to
in the
do with
woods.
my happiness, right? I don't know, but I mean, I think what resonates here with me is Selena and I talk about how sometimes we're opposites, right? She's a little bit of a wallflower when we're in a situation, and I am not. I'm in the center of the room. I have no problem standing in front of a crowd and doing that twirl, like legit doing a twirl and wearing the tutu while I'm doing it. But I do have those limiting beliefs, and they're happening while I'm doing that. And so, what I love about what you're saying is it doesn't matter if you are that more extroverted, confident person that can run right out, or if you're the person that hangs back a little bit, it is that everybody's experiencing these same things and they're gonna hit you at different points in time. And it will affect the way that you're able to close that deal, grow your business, make that partnership, whatever it is that you're going for. So I loved hearing this that it applies across the board, no matter what your personality or your strengths are. So, yeah, yeah, three things our listeners are going to do. Okay. Add a boy folder. You're going to identify a limiting belief and you're going to come up with a new answer for it. I would love to be tagged on those posts. Like if you post it, if you don't want to post it, you want to send me an email, send us an email. I mean, whatever it might be, right? Because this is why we have people like April on the show. Like, I feel so empowered today. I don't know about anybody else in this,
I'm telling you.
right?
And yeah. And so Anna knows like there's always a conflicting time when I have the mastermind groups with April and then another thing that Anna and I have. So she's always like, go to April,
Oh,
have your
goodness.
time, and
Come
I'll
to me.
see you. I'll handle the beginning parts, right? So Anna is always about, she
Yeah.
goes, and then one thing she did say, April, and I think this is anybody, get somebody great like April, but just Anna goes, I know like when you talk about it, you light up, you know what I mean? And I think it's not, it's just like I light up because it's something for myself that I'm finally doing. So yeah, Anna recognizes
Yeah.
that. And so, yeah, no, I love it. I did. I chose different because I normally would have said, oh, may I be friends with you,
Yes, we
April?
can be
Yes.
friends. We can be
Yes.
friends. Let's
You've
do
got,
it.
you've got some big fans. You've got big
Yeah.
fans now, April.
Yeah. No, I'm
I
telling
love
you.
it.
So, okay, look, I know we're at the 45-minute mark and April has like many things to do. So I guess we should like start the process of the things. I don't want to, but April, is there
Right.
anything that you want to just, not that we're leaving the show, but like any last thought before we move on to telling them where to find you and the toolkits and all the things?
Yeah, I would say the last thought is, whether you're struggling with imposter syndrome, whether as you heard us talk today, you're like, oh, I do have some people on my board of directors. I would love to drop the link in for the board of directors podcast because I think it could just really help someone walk through that. But if you're listening right now and maybe you've uncovered some things, I want you to know that you're worth the work. You're worth the time, the investment, the just kind of mental capital in moving past some of this stuff. Like, I know it's so easy to get out there and serve others and serve our clients and our families and our kids and things like that. But I just want you to stop for a second and appreciate that you're worth this. And so take some time to get curious, whether that's journaling, whether that's go for a walk, talk to a friend, reach out. But I want you to live the best life you can. And that's not just about what you can do for other people.
And guys, I get
Right.
to be with April in our group like later today, which I'm so excited about. I love that, April. Okay. Yeah.
A fantastic final
Yes.
thought. Like
Yeah.
that is like the perfect way to end this show and to
Yeah.
just like feel so empowered going into your Tuesday. Feel
Yeah.
so empowered going to your Tuesday. You deserve to be
Woo-hoo.
there.
No.
You are worth it. Your
Yes.
business is worth it. You can
Yeah.
do this. Like
Yeah.
all the things, man.
Yeah. I
Okay.
feel like Anna's gonna go around her house and she's gonna like
All
April's
right.
Appley and her kids.
I'll
Like,
send you like a zapper or something.
no,
We
no
can like a bite
limitations in
zapper.
this house today. None, zero, zilch. We are doing the things.
And we'll hear it in other
Chores are
people too.
doable.
Yeah.
Get to it.
No,
I'm
it,
empowering
yes,
you to do that.
yeah. I think, like I said, yes. I mean, it's funny. I sit with and I'll hear my husband like say
Mhm.
something, and I'm like, zap, like like no, like, and then we talk about it, and I think that's what you're saying, right? Is you are encouraging when you talk
Mhm.
about it, you can talk through it and understand
You
it
can.
and get a
And
good
I will
grasp on it.
say, when people watch you change,
Yeah,
this is really important. I had my final thought. Here I am doing
I know.
final thoughts, ladies. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
I love it.
Here we go.
No,
When the most we can inspire someone that is close to us, someone in our family or our spouse, them watching us change. Because as we grow, the things attached to us grow. Not immediately. We might start walking every morning. And at first, our spouse is like, it makes me mad that the alarm now goes off at 5 a.m. That might happen. But
right.
what you'll find is at some point in the future, maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's 6 months later, but people start to get inspired by our journey. And so when you're investing in yourself, when you're actively getting better, you're like, oh, I used to think this limiting belief, and now I'm actively working. You say it out loud, you go, oh, I could never do that. I'm not the kind of person that does that. And then you go, wait, no, that's not true. I used to not be able to, but I could probably do something like that in future. When people see you changing, they are inspired by your change. So don't think about, oh, if I invest in me, if I do this work, I'm taking away from somebody else. Let those people be inspired by your journey. I always say that on social media, there's this big push about like hustle in silence and then come out and press everyone with a BS. The only if you change in silence, if you change in the dark, the only person that's helping is you. That's just protecting your ego. But when people watch you transform, people watch this metamorphosis that happens, they're inspired by that. People are inspired by your weight loss journey. People are inspired by your, work, trying to get your your words in every morning because you want to write a book. Share your journey because people will be inspired by that. We don't want to just see the aftermath. People need to see you pursuing the better version of you, and it gives them permission to pursue the better version of them.
That's all I can say. So true, so true. I will say, like, I was checking in on an old client yesterday, asking how he was doing, and he was like, "Man, I haven't been on social media in probably a year." And he goes, "I love that you're still crushing and slaying it, Selena. That's what I'm seeing." And so that came to mind when you said, right, like just sharing and the thing, and that made me feel so good. Like, I didn't expect that because I was doing a check in on him because of
Mhm.
natural nature and stuff. But I love that. I love that. Okay, Anna, I guess we should not say anything
Yeah.
next, or else we're
So
going to
I want,
prompt. And oh, he's like, no, I have a thought. Go ahead, Anna.
yeah.
No, I went searching because I wanted this to be here, but
Yeah.
I have pulled
Yes.
a link for the first. There was a
Mhm.
two-part here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first part of the Breakfast podcast by
Mhm.
April. So click on that link in the
Yeah.
comments. It should be in all the places that you might be listening. And if you need a reminder, like later today, you just
Yeah.
go and listen to
Yeah.
that podcast
Yeah.
or replay this one or, and listen to both of them. And I mean, it's on my to-do list for this
Yeah.
week for sure to go
Put
listen
it
to
put
those
it
because
on
I
in the
think that this
car,
is,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Thanks for finding that, Anna, because
So
it is good. And she's got you guys. I wish I could just say there's just one, but there's so much gold nuggets on her podcast, and she has phenomenal guests that she gets to speak with. So I think it's just great tidbits. Thanks for
Thank
finding that,
you.
Anna. Okay,
absolutely.
I'm gonna put us into the toolkit. If not, we're gonna talk to April all
Yeah.
day, which I don't mind. I would do all day long. You know what I mean? So we'll go here. As you guys know, Anna and I love to share something that you should have in your toolkit. And we thought 100% we wanted to mention this. I'm going to let April talk about it because it's her events. And it's actually how I came to find her and love her and still be with her 6 months now. So I'm going to let April, what is this and why should people be running to this right now?
Absolutely. So the virtual events that we do, so it's a PivotMe Academy, and what we do is we'll do a virtual event that's totally free that people can come in and just kind of get the feel of what we do at the PivotMe Academy. So it's we keep them small, intentionally small. For years I did webinars and I do keynote speeches and stuff like that. And they're great, except it's all one-way communication. And that's the part I don't like. I can get up and tell you how to change your life or change your business or do these things. But what I love most is a conversation. What I love most is getting in on talk to me about what's going on in your business. Talk to me about what's going on in your life. And let's put practical, let's put action items on where we can make these changes. And so we have these virtual events where we keep them real small and people come in for, usually they're like a 4-hour event. And I get to know them. I get to know their business. I get to understand what their challenges are from a productivity standpoint. We often uncover some limiting beliefs. I'm not going to lie. Some people end up crying a little bit. And they're like, how did I show up to this event with tears in my eyes? But they're good tears. And we walk through my framework on anatomy of goals where, honestly, most people approach goals wrong. SMART goal format is good, but it misses the human psychology of what actually helps us achieve goals. So I walk through that process. And so we make it very, very tactical. We teach, but also, okay, here's what we're going to do right now. Here's what you can do when you hop off and you're going, how do I implement this right away? And we found that those are just such impactful ways that I can go and give a keynote, and I love speaking, guys. I really do. But when I do that, I never get to hear feedback from the audience. I don't get to say, "Hey, you in the front row, how are you going to implement this right away?" So we do these events so that they're selfishly, I love that part. And so we can communicate directly with you. You absolutely should come. Both for just the helps on goals, because everybody's got goals, whether they're business goals or health goals or relationship goals. We give some really practical things that like, hey, this is what you need to do in your anatomy of goals. I did an article on it recently on LinkedIn, and it's really, really a powerful thing that you've got to incorporate in your goal setting. But also, I just want to know you. I want to know what you're struggling with. I want to know how to serve you. And then that helps me serve other people in a very profound way because, well, that's the purpose of my life. So if you have not been to a Pivot Me Academy virtual event, you should absolutely come. I'm sure you guys probably are going to drop the link in the pivot-me.com/event. You sign up. It's really easy. You talk to a member of my team and we'll get you into the next event.
Yeah, into it.
And is there a cost for this, April? This is the part I love the most. This is free of
So,
charge.
and
People.
yeah, exactly. So exactly. So if I was doing a workshop, there would be a very big fee to this.
Yeah.
However, as we do it virtual, we're able to do this free. And I'm speaking and my implementation coach is on as well. A lot of times people from our actual paying mastermind are on the call too. And the people in the mastermind are phenomenal humans. And they just show up to sometimes to get a refresher on goal setting or pick
Yeah.
up some tips. With stuff like this, guys, we need to be told, but oftentimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be told. Oh man, I didn't realize this person got back in on my board of directors. I didn't realize I'd started to say something negative to myself.
Yeah.
And so these events really help us kind of uncover that. But it's not just about inspiration. It's about, okay, here's the steps that you're going to take now that you've spent this time together. And it is, there's no other way to describe it. It truly is a transformative event for people.
Yes, guys, I am not joking. I mean, I could sit here and just be a walking April billboard, but really phenomenal. So, yes, there is the link. You'll see it on all the different platforms that we're streaming to today. Thanks, Anna.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you can
Mhm.
find it either in that direct link, or if you hit the blog that Selena and I did for today's show, you'll be able to find the link to the mastermind, on all the links on where to find April. You'll be able to connect with her on every single
Yeah.
any and every way
Yeah.
you could possibly want.
Yeah. Let's actually do that. So, April, where do you want people to kind of like, other than our blog, but where do you like to hang out the most?
Good question. So I'm the April Garcia on almost every platform. I do spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. So if you're a LinkedIn person, definitely connect with me there. I do a newsletter on LinkedIn, the PivotME Tools for Your Vision, which is very, we really spend a lot of time crafting amazing articles on that again are very actionable. I don't want to just inspire. I definitely want people to take action on that. So I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn or the April Garcia on either Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. There's no reason why you can't find her, guys. She's there.
Yep.
I'm
I found
everywhere.
her in all the places
Yeah.
now.
All right. Hannah's like, friend, connect.
Everybody needs a
connect.
little April in their life
I'm
every day, I
telling
feel
you.
like, right?
Oh,
I'm just, you know what? I'm just excited that like my biz bestie gets to finally like get to talk to you in real life, April, because I think it's just kind of like, I wanted her to know the excitement of what you bring into my life personally and professionally. So it's like, so, all right. Okay, Anna, go ahead. Let's talk about I know her to you too, April. Anna,
right.
let's talk about this.
Yeah, as we close down our show for the day, we always like to leave you with a fantastic tip from our tip jar from one of our amazing financial experts. This one is from Joanna Linares, our bookkeeping professional at Eating Barista. She says, if your business accepts check payments from customers, make a copy or take a photo of the check before you deposit it at the bank. Some online banks do not offer images of checks deposited and or require you to contact them to obtain such images. It is one of the most difficult of puzzles for business owners and bookkeepers when trying to backtrack and clean up books for businesses that accept checks. So, just something to keep in mind. Either check with your bank and make sure it's easy to obtain those images, or just take your own and keep them in your financial folders, and wherever that might be.
I
Thank
know.
you so
Thanks,
much, Joanna,
Joanna.
for that fantastic tip. All right. We are at the end of our show. Oops, that's supposed to be a ticker, not a banner. But all right, fixing that really. While I'm doing that, our next guest is going to be Lauren Stewart of Stewart Studio Branding and Graphic Design. We're going to be talking about branding and graphic design, which is going to be amazing. So after you finish all these limiting beliefs and they're all out of your life now, you're going to move on to like create that brand that people are just going to swoon over. So
Yeah.
join us not next week, 2 weeks from now,
Yep.
on April 18th. You're getting a little bit of a break for the whole little Easter holiday. So enjoy that with family, friends. We're having Freester together, Selena and I, that's friends
Yeah.
Easter, Freester.
Yeah. We made our own holiday, guys. You know.
You're all invited.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Find us at all the places. Come find us on our next show. April, thank you so much for your
Yeah.
wisdom, your advice, your inspiring words today. I feel like everybody left just pumped up and ready to go. And I mean,
Yes.
that's what you do best, right?
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you
awesome.
so much.
No,
It's
thanks
been
for
amazing
making
to
our
be here.
no, yes. Thank you for making our 100th episode special.
Yeah.
This was awesome. So,
I'm honored to be here.
yeah. Okay, guys, you know where to find her and have
We'll
a
see you
great
next
rest of
time.
the week. Bye, guys.
Bye,